Ryan Hale had been on dozens of exploration missions across the silent regions of space, but this one felt different from the moment his ship entered the forgotten star system. The place was unusually quiet, almost too quiet, as if time itself stopped moving here. Even his crew spoke softly, as though afraid their voices might disturb something ancient that slept in the darkness. Their ship, the Horizon Wing, moved slowly between drifting metal pieces and old machinery parts. Most of these objects were broken satellites, rusted cargo shells, and pieces of ships that probably belonged to explorers who passed through long ago. Nothing seemed dangerous, only abandoned and forgotten. Ryan's eyes scanned the displays with calm focus, searching for anything useful. He had a talent for noticing things others overlooked, and today was no different. Suddenly, something unusual appeared on the radar. It was small, oval-shaped, and smooth nothing like the jagged debris around it. Ryan leaned forward, studying the shape. It wasn't spinning like the other fragments. It stayed steady, almost floating with purpose. A soft glow flickered from inside it, faint but unmistakable. He felt a strange pull in his chest, a feeling he couldn't explain. He told his crew to bring it aboard. Some questioned the decision, warning that unknown objects could be dangerous. But Ryan remained firm. Curiosity and instinct guided him. Once they secured the object in the ship's lab, they all gathered around it. A transparent shell covered the capsule, making its interior slightly visible, but not clear enough to understand what rested inside. Their scanners struggled to read it. No life signs, no known energy signatures, no mechanical locks, nothing matched any database. For the first time in a long while, Ryan felt excitement run through him. Discovering something truly unknown was every explorer's dream. He moved closer to the capsule, studying the smooth surface with his fingertips. It felt warm, alive even, as if something inside it responded to his presence. Hours passed. Other crew members left to continue their tasks, but Ryan stayed. There was something about the capsule that locked his attention. Sometimes it pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. Sometimes the glow inside shifted in color. It felt like standing next to a sleeping creature. Not dangerous, just waiting. Ryan's thoughts wandered. He wondered who could have created something so advanced, so beautiful, and why it drifted alone in empty space. Was it sent from somewhere far away? Was it abandoned? Was someone inside it? He tried to shake the thought away. It was foolish to imagine that something alive could sleep inside that glowing shell. Late into the night, Ryan found himself still there, watching the capsule. His crew knew his habit of immersing himself in research, so no one disturbed him. The ship lights dimmed, leaving only the capsule's soft glow to brighten the room. He rested his hands on the table, his eyes never leaving the object. Then the ship passed through a small solar flare. The sudden burst of energy shook the vessel slightly. At that exact moment, the capsule reacted. Ryan saw the glow become brighter, almost blinding. The smooth surface vibrated with low hums, and strange patterns of light spread across it like veins. Ryan stood up quickly, uncertain what was happening. Before he could call anyone, the capsule began to open. It did not break apart like a machine. Instead, it unfolded gently, like the petals of a flower waking at dawn. A soft mist spilled out, spreading through the air like morning fog. Ryan stepped back, heart pounding. His instincts told him to be cautious, but another part of him felt drawn toward it. He held his ground, breathing slowly. Inside the capsule lay a woman. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her appearance was humanoid but clearly alien. Her skin carried a faint shimmer that reflected the capsule's fading light. Her hair was long and flowed gently across her shoulders, glowing softly at the tips. Her clothing resembled ceremonial armor, beautifully designed with delicate symbols and woven patterns. Even in deep sleep, she radiated strength and authority. Ryan stared, trying to process what he was seeing. She wasn't a machine. She wasn't a hologram. She was alive. He leaned closer, noticing her breathing. It was shallow, weak, almost fading. His concern overpowered his caution. Carefully, he reached out and touched her arm. The moment his skin met hers, the entire capsule reacted again. The glowing patterns faded, the mist dissolved, and the shell sealed shut, then disappeared into thin air, vanishing like smoke. The sudden disappearance made Ryan stumble backward. He blinked several times, trying to understand what had just happened. But the truth was simple: the capsule left no trace. Only the alien woman remained, lying fragile and silent on his lab table. He called his crew immediately. They rushed in, shocked by what they saw. Some backed away, unsure how to react. The ship's medic moved forward, preparing to scan her. The engineer whispered, asking if they should contact the Federation or a scientific center. But Ryan didn't answer right away. His eyes stayed on her face, studying her peaceful, yet exhausted expression. He gently lifted her, surprised at how light she was. She felt almost weightless, as if gravity barely affected her. He carried her to the medbay, placing her on the medical bed. The scanners activated, sending beams of light across her body. But the results confused them. Her biology did not match any known species. Her cells carried energy signatures that seemed to shift constantly. Her heart beat slowly but steadily. They ensured she was stable. Ryan stood beside her, watching her breathe. Something inside him felt responsible for her. He didn't know who she was, where she came from, or why she traveled inside such an advanced capsule. But he knew one thing: she needed help, and he was the one who found her. Hours turned into a quiet calm. The crew returned to their duties, whispering theories about the mysterious woman. Some believed she was royalty. Others believed she was a lost explorer from a distant empire. Some feared she might bring danger to the ship. But Ryan believed something different. He believed she was alone, vulnerable, and possibly in danger. He stayed in the medbay long after the others left. He watched over her, adjusting the temperature, checking her vitals, and ensuring she rested. Her presence brought a strange warmth to the room, something peaceful, yet powerful. Time moved slowly. Ryan didn't feel tired. He felt connected. He didn't understand why the capsule opened only when he was near. He didn't understand why it vanished after placing her in his hands. But deep inside, he sensed that none of it was an accident. There was a purpose for everything that happened. When he finally stepped away from her side, he looked back one more time. The soft lights of the medbay reflected on her armor, making it look like silver flowing water. She seemed peaceful, almost like someone recovering from a long journey across galaxies. Ryan whispered softly, barely audible, "You're safe now." He didn't know how true or untrue those words would become. For now, he believed them. For now, she rested. But somewhere in the vastness of space, forces he could not imagine were already moving. And the moment he found the capsule, his mission changed forever. Unknown to Ryan, the woman inside the medbay was not just any traveler. She carried a history older than most civilizations, and her awakening would set events in motion that would reach far beyond his small exploration ship. But for now, all Ryan knew was this. He found an unknown capsule during a simple mission, and inside it was someone who would change his destiny. Ryan barely slept after bringing the alien woman aboard. He kept remembering the moment she opened her eyes, even though it had not actually happened yet. His mind replayed the glow of the capsule, the softness of her breathing, the strange feeling he felt when he touched her hand. He stayed near the medbay window through most of the night cycle, watching the quiet hallway and listening to the faint sound of the ship's engines. The crew walked quietly too, aware that something extraordinary now lived aboard the Horizon wing. Some felt uneasy, unsure what her awakening would bring. Others whispered excitedly, wondering if their discovery would make history. But no one felt the weight of the moment as strongly as Ryan did. He wasn't just the commander. He was the one who found her. The one who carried her. The capsule responded to. Near the start of the next cycle, the medbay lights adjusted to a warm glow. Ryan stepped inside, adjusting his jacket and brushing sleep from his eyes. The alien woman lay exactly where he had left her, peaceful, still, but with a slightly stronger breath than before. Her armor shimmered subtly, displaying patterns that shifted like moving starlight. Ryan stood beside her bed, wondering who she really was. He thought about the ancient capsule she came in. That object felt alive, as if it had chosen him for this responsibility. He didn't know what that meant yet, but his instincts told him something important was unfolding. He turned to check the medical readings again. Her temperature had stabilized overnight. Her energy levels, whatever they truly measured, had risen significantly. The medic called it a healing surge, though they still didn't know the source. Then the room shifted. It was subtle at first. The air grew heavier, the lights flickered, and a gentle hum vibrated through the walls. Ryan immediately turned toward her. Her fingers twitched. The shimmering patterns on her skin brightened. Her chest rose with a deeper breath, as if life was returning to her slowly but surely. Ryan stepped closer, feeling his heartbeat race. He didn't know what to expect. Would she be frightened? Would she attack? Would she speak? All he could do was stand with steady patience, ready for anything. Her eyes opened. They glowed softly at first, then adjusted to the room like twin moons rising in a dark sky. Her gaze moved slowly across the ceiling before stopping on Ryan. For a moment, neither of them spoke. She studied him, her expression unreadable, calm yet cautious. Ryan felt a strange sensation, as if she was not just looking at him, but looking through him, understanding more than he intended to show. He decided to break the silence. "You're safe," he said gently. "You're aboard my ship. My name is Ryan." She blinked slowly, processing his words. Her lips parted, and a soft sound escaped, a language Ryan couldn't understand. It echoed strangely, like multiple voices speaking at once. She frowned slightly, then closed her eyes again, focusing. When she opened them next, her voice had changed. "Ryan," she whispered, her accent smooth and unfamiliar. "Human." Hearing her speak, his name made Ryan feel momentarily stunned. She learned it instantly. How? He didn't know. But she sounded gentle, curious, not fearful. Ryan kept his voice steady and calm. "We found you inside a capsule. You were weak. We're helping you recover." She lifted her hand slightly, as if testing her strength. "Long sleep," she murmured softly. "Very long." Her fingers brushed the edge of the bed. Energy flickered around them like tiny sparks. Ryan felt a soft gust of wind around his hand, even though the air was still. She pulled her hand back quickly, as if embarrassed or unsure. "You're safe," he repeated, trying to reassure her. "No one here will harm you." She studied him again with those glowing eyes. This time, her gaze softened a little, as though she understood his sincerity. She attempted to sit up, but her body wavered. Ryan reached forward instinctively, supporting her back. Instead of pulling away, she allowed his help. "I am Lavara," she said quietly, placing her hand on her chest. So she had a name. Ryan nodded slowly. "It's good to meet you, Lavara." The moment felt strangely meaningful, like two paths crossing that were never meant to meet, yet somehow destined to. Before Ryan could ask anything more, an alarm beeped sharply through the ship. The sounds of hurrying footsteps echoed from the hallway. Ryan looked toward the door, already tense. The ship rarely had sudden alarms, unless something serious happened. The communications officer rushed in, breathless. "Commander!" A patrol vessel is approaching fast. They're demanding immediate boarding rights. Ryan frowned. On what grounds? They won't say. They just repeated the demand and locked onto our coordinates. Lavara's expression changed instantly. Her eyes grew alert, sharper than before. She placed her hand flat on the bed, steadying herself. Ryan noticed her breathing quicken. But not from fear, more like recognition. They follow, she whispered. Ryan turned to her. You know them? She nodded, closing her eyes briefly. They search. For me. Ryan's thoughts raced. He needed more information, but there was no time. The patrol vessel had already begun a scan of the surrounding space. If they boarded the ship and found Lavara, Ryan had no idea what they might do. He faced the communications officer. Tell them we are carrying sensitive cargo and cannot allow boarding. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. HFY 42. We'll seize and Hebside. Let's the census start. And decidig sampleload. And decidig sample. The officer hesitated. Sir. That vessel has military clearance. If we refuse, we refuse, Ryan said firmly. Do it. The officer nodded and left quickly. Ryan turned back to Lavara. She looked pale, troubled by the situation. He wanted answers, but he could see she was still recovering. Asking too much now would only weaken her further. They want to take you? He asked quietly. She looked away, as if ashamed. They want power. I am not safe from them. Ryan stepped closer. You're safe here. She looked at him again, searching his face. Her voice softened. Human, you choose danger. For me, I choose what feels right. Ryan answered simply. The ship shook suddenly. Outside, the patrol vessel had fired a warning shot, skimming the horizon wing's shields. The lights flickered. Ryan rushed toward the intercom, activating the ship-wide alert. Battle stations. Everyone brace for possible impact. As Ryan prepared to move toward the bridge, Lavara called his name softly. He turned. She was sitting upright now, her eyes glowing brighter than ever before. I can help, she said, though her voice trembled. You need rest, Ryan insisted. She placed her hand against the wall, and something incredible happened. The entire ship hummed, rising in pitch. The engines, which were old and often unstable, suddenly surged with power. The lights steadied. The shields strengthened. The ship gained speed that should have been impossible. Ryan stared in disbelief. What did you do? She swayed slightly, struggling to stay conscious. I share energy, she whispered. I can make this vessel faster, stronger, but it costs me much. Ryan hesitated, torn between accepting her help and protecting her well-being. Before he could speak, the ship jolted again, this time from a direct hit. Stay here, he said firmly. I'll handle the rest. But before Ryan reached the door, Lavara whispered, They will not stop. They will chase until they take me. Ryan turned back, his jaw tight. Then they chose the wrong ship, he said. He ran to the bridge, the doors sliding open violently as he entered. The crew was already in action, the engines roaring louder than ever. Ryan took command immediately. Full power to forward thrust. Don't let them lock us. The ship shot forward with a speed it had never achieved before, leaving the patrol vessel momentarily behind. Ryan felt the acceleration push against his chest, but he steadied himself and focused. Then the impossible happened. The patrol lost their trail. Their scanners couldn't keep up. The horizon wing slipped into a region of dense asteroid fields, weaving through them with agility no human ship should have had. When the danger finally passed, the crew let out breaths of relief. Ryan sat in the command chair, exhausted but deeply grateful. He returned to the medbay as soon as things settled. Lavara lay unconscious again, drained from the energy she used. Ryan rushed to her side, checking her breathing. It was weak, but steady, just like before. He held her hand gently. "You saved us." Her fingers moved slightly, though her eyes remained closed. She whispered one fragile sentence, barely audible. "They will come again. For both of us." Ryan stayed by her side, realizing his life had changed in a way he never expected. He knew almost nothing about Lavara, yet he felt responsible for her. He knew her enemies would return, stronger than before. And he knew he would not abandon her, no matter what dangers came next. The capsule had opened for a reason, and now he understood he was part of something far larger than himself. Ryan returned to the bridge after checking on Lavara, still unsettled by her final whispered warning. The crew was busy repairing systems, calming nerves, and adjusting the ship's course. The Horizon Wing had escaped danger once, but everyone knew the threat was far from over. Their pursuers clearly had strong motivation, and ships like those did not stop until their mission was complete. Ryan looked at the stars outside the windows. The asteroid field they hid within glowed softly under scattered sunlight from a distant star. It would be a temporary hiding place. They needed answers, clearly. But the only person who had those answers was resting in the medbay, recovering from using her strange energy abilities. Hours later, when the ship settled into quiet again, Ryan returned to her side. Lavara still lay unconscious. Her glow dimmer than before, but no longer fading. Her breathing was stable. Her fingers twitched from time to time, as if she were dreaming. Ryan sat beside her, thinking of what happened earlier, that energy she shared. The way she strengthened the ship. The way she spoke about being hunted. He waited patiently. At last, near the end of the cycle, her eyes opened again. This time she looked directly at Ryan without confusion. She seemed calmer, more aware, as if waking from a long fog. Her voice was soft but steady when she spoke. "You stayed." Ryan smiled slightly. "Of course. You needed rest." She studied his face for a long moment, as though trying to understand him more deeply. Finally, she exhaled, slowly. "I owe you the truth." Ryan did not interrupt. He simply nodded and allowed her to speak at her own pace. "My name is Lavara Solarin," she said slowly. "I was, Queen of the Elendari." Ryan felt the air thicken. Queen. The word alone carried weight heavier than any metal the ship could hold. He had suspected she was important. But to hear she was a queen, a ruler, was beyond anything he imagined. Lavara continued. "My people were once peaceful. We guided many worlds, protected them, helped them grow. But a faction rose within us. Ambitious, cold, hungry for control. They believed ruling through fear would make our empire stronger." She paused, her eyes darkening with old pain. "When I refused to join them, they turned against me. They tried to remove me from power, but my loyal guardians saved me. They placed me in a stasis capsule and sent me far into space, hoping I would survive, hoping the enemy would fail to find me." Ryan listened carefully, thinking of the patrol ship they escaped from. "The ones who attacked us, they work for this enemy faction?" She nodded. "They hunt me. If they capture me, they will use me as a symbol to control my people. Without me, resistance is weak." Ryan rubbed his forehead, trying to process the scale of what she was saying. This was no simple conflict. This was political struggle across an entire empire, a galactic empire with enemies powerful enough to chase someone across the stars. But something didn't add up. He leaned closer. "If your capsule was so advanced, how did we find it drifting like debris?" Lavara looked down, her voice lowering. "Because I was lost. My guardians could not follow. The enemy disrupted the capsule's path. It drifted through uncharted space for a long time. Too long." She closed her eyes briefly. I thought I would never wake again." Ryan felt a sting of sympathy. Imagining her floating in darkness for who knows how many years made his chest tighten. It was a loneliness too deep to measure. "Then why did the capsule open when I touched it?" he asked quietly. Lavara hesitated before answering. The capsule was designed to open only for someone who meant no harm, someone with a strong heart, someone safe. She met his gaze. "It chose you." Ryan looked away, unsure how to respond. He wasn't used to being described like that. But hearing it from her felt meaningful. The quiet moment was interrupted by a sharp beep from the ship's scanner. Ryan automatically checked the display. His expression tightened. Ryan, 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 Ryan. A small fleet had entered the asteroid region. They were searching. Lavara's eyes widened. "They found us." Ryan stood quickly and activated the intercom. "All crew prepare for silent mode. No engine activity. No transmissions. No lights." The ship darkened instantly, sinking into the shadows of the asteroid cave. The engines shut down, leaving only the faint hum of life support systems. The crew moved quietly, whispering instructions, their faces tense. Ryan returned to Lavara's bedside. She looked scared for the first time since awakening, though she tried to hide it. "How many?" she asked softly. Ryan checked the updated feed. 3 ships. Maybe more behind. They're scanning the entire field. Lavara closed her eyes and breathed deeply. They will not leave until they find something unusual. Ryan leaned against the wall, thinking quickly. They couldn't outrun a fleet. They couldn't fight one either. Their only chance was to remain hidden. But with every passing minute, the enemy scanners moved closer, sweeping through clusters of asteroids like giant hands searching through sand. Minutes turned into long stretches of silence. The tension in the air was thick, almost suffocating. Ryan could hear the crew whispering through the comms, waiting for any sign of being detected. Lavara suddenly stiffened. Her eyes glowed faintly, as if she sensed something beyond the scanners. "They are not just scanning," she whispered. "They are listening." "Listening?" Ryan echoed. She nodded. "My people have sensitive tech. They detect energy signatures, thoughts, emotions. They are trying to feel for me." Ryan froze. "Can they sense you right now?" Lavara looked ashamed. "Yes, but only faintly. They know I am near, but not exactly where." Ryan ran a hand through his hair, trying not to panic. "Then how do we hide you completely?" "I must suppress my energy," she said, struggling to sit up. "But doing so is painful and takes strength." Ryan helped her sit. "Don't push yourself too much. There must be another way." Lavara shook her head slowly. "Ryan, they cannot be reasoned with. They cannot be outrun. The only solution is to disappear to mask my presence completely." He hesitated. "Will you be okay?" Her voice was quiet, but determined. She placed her hands together, then opened them slightly. A soft light formed between them, trembling like a candle flame in wind. She closed her eyes tightly. Sweat rolled down her temple. Her breathing became strained. The flame dimmed slowly, shrinking, shrinking. Outside, the scanner beams brushed past the asteroid cave. The enemy ships hovered, paused, then moved on. The horizon wing remained unseen. As the enemy fleet drifted away, the crew sighed in relief. Ryan turned to Lavara, but she had collapsed again, completely drained. He rushed to catch her, gently laying her back down on the bed. Her glow had faded almost entirely. "Lavara?" he whispered. Her eyes fluttered open, barely. "I am still here." Ryan stayed beside her, holding her hand carefully. She looked fragile, weaker than before. He felt helpless, knowing she used her strength only to protect them. He spoke softly. "You didn't have to do that alone." She weakly smiled. "You protect me. I must protect you too. Ryan felt a strange warmth spread in his chest. It wasn't romantic, just a deep connection, a sense of shared destiny. After several minutes, Lavara recovered enough energy to speak softly again. We cannot keep running forever. We must go to my people, my rebels. They still fight. They need me. Ryan understood. Where are they? On my homeworld's moon, she replied. A hidden base. Ryan studied the star charts carefully. The journey would be long and dangerous, but he saw determination in her eyes. Determination mixed with hope. We'll go, he said firmly. She looked at him with gratitude that needed no words. Ryan left the medbay and gathered the crew. He explained their new course, the mission ahead, and the importance of keeping Lavara safe. Some crew members reacted with awe, some with anxiety, but all trusted Ryan. He had earned their respect long before this mission, and now they stood with him without hesitation. When the ship quietly left the asteroid cave and slipped into deeper space, a new feeling filled the corridor's purpose. Lavara slept peacefully, gathering her strength for what awaited her. Ryan sat in the command chair, staring at the stars ahead. He knew the road was dangerous. He knew their enemies would return. But something inside him had changed. He wasn't just protecting a stranger now. He was protecting a queen, a hope, a future for an entire civilization. And deep in his heart, he felt something else, a quiet but powerful certainty that their journey together was only beginning. The horizon wing drifted into deep space, leaving the asteroid field far behind. The stars stretched endlessly in front of them, forming a silent path toward Lavara's home system. Ryan watched the view from the bridge, feeling both excitement and tension twisting inside him. The ship was quiet, the crew moving carefully, aware that their mission was no longer routine exploration. They carried a queen, a symbol of hope for an entire empire, and danger followed close behind. Ryan rested his hands on the control panel, thinking about the past few days. His life had changed faster than he could understand. One moment he was scanning old debris in an empty star system, and the next he was protecting an alien queen who had enemies strong enough to shake the galaxy. But even with so much uncertainty around him, he didn't feel afraid. Instead, he felt responsible, almost connected to Lavara, in a way he couldn't explain. He checked the medbay camera and saw her sleeping peacefully. Her glow was slowly returning, but she was far from full strength. Ryan turned back toward the stars. They had to reach her people. That was the only way she would be safe. The journey took several long hours. The crew used the time to repair damage from the earlier chase, reinforce the shields, and quietly prepare for whatever awaited them in Lavara's system. No one complained. No one doubted. They trusted Ryan's leadership completely. As the ship approached the border of Elendari space, a strange energy shimmer filled the screen. It looked like a curtain of light gently floating between stars. Ryan glanced toward the science officer. What is that? A defense barrier, she answered softly. Not human. Very old. Very strong. Ryan nodded. Can we pass through without triggering it? The science officer shook her head. Not unless something on board matches its energy signature. Ryan looked at Lavara's room in the camera feed. She matches it, he realized. The crew exchanged quiet looks. This defense field would protect Lavara's allies, but block anyone who didn't belong. Ryan activated the ship's speaker. Lavara, are you awake? There was a pause. Then her gentle voice replied weakly, I am here. We need your help, Ryan said. There's an energy barrier. It won't let us through without your signature. Silence followed. Then she said softly, Bring me to the bridge. Ryan hesitated. You're not strong yet. You should rest. I must do this, she insisted. My people must know I am alive. Ryan went to the medbay personally. When he entered, Lavara was already trying to sit up. Her face looked pale but determined. He moved quickly to help her stand. She leaned slightly on his arm, her skin warm and faintly glowing again. "You don't have to push yourself," he said gently. "I do," she whispered. Her words made Ryan pause. But he didn't question them. Together, they walked slowly toward the bridge. When the doors opened, the crew fell silent. Many had only seen her through the medbay window. Seeing her now standing, moving, visibly regal despite her weariness made them understand why she mattered so much. Lavara stepped forward, placing her hand on the main control console. A soft wave of bright light spread across it. The defense barrier ahead shimmered in response. It parted slowly, creating a pathway wide enough for the horizon wing to slip through. The crew exhaled in awe. Ryan guided her carefully to a seat. "Thank you." She gave him a faint smile. This is where the real danger begins. As soon as the ship crossed into Elendari territory, alarms sounded again. Multiple vessels appeared on the scanner, fast, agile, and shaped like curved wings of light. Ryan tensed, ready for another chase, but Lavara raised her hand weakly. "They are not enemies," she said. "They are rebels. My loyal ones." Ryan waited anxiously as the vessels surrounded the horizon wing. A message appeared on the screen, written in symbols Ryan didn't understand. Lavara leaned forward and touched the console again. Her glow brightened for a moment. The enemy ships instantly changed formation. Instead of surrounding them aggressively, they formed a protective ring, escorting the horizon wing like a royal guard. The crew gasped. "It's true then," one whispered. The escort ships guided the horizon wing to a moon half covered in shadows. Its surface glowed faintly with energy lines, forming patterns like roots of a tree. They descended through a hidden exit and landed in a massive cavern shaped like a sanctuary, filled with glowing crystals and advanced equipment. When the ship settled, the doors opened to reveal Elendari rebels, tall, graceful beings with glowing marks like Lavara's, though less bright. They wore simple armor and carried staffs that pulsed with soft light. Ryan watched with quiet caution as a group of them approached. Their leader, a man with silver hair and a steady gaze, stepped forward. The moment he saw Lavara, his expression changed completely. He dropped to one knee, and the others followed. "My queen," he said, voice trembling with emotion. "We believed you lost forever." Lavara stood as straight as she could, her face softening. The rebel leader rose and looked at Ryan with deep gratitude. "Human, we owe you more than you know." Ryan simply nodded. "I just did what felt right." The rebels escorted Lavara and Ryan deeper into their hidden base. The crystal-lit passages shimmered warmly, leading to a central chamber that resembled a throne room carved from living stone. The rebels gathered, whispering excitedly, their eyes glowing with hope. Lavara stepped onto a raised platform and turned to face them. Ryan stood behind her, giving silent support. Slowly, her voice filled the chamber, steady and strong despite her fatigue. "My people," she said, "I have returned. I survived because a human one, who knew nothing of our war, risked his life to protect me." The rebels' eyes widened with respect as they turned to look at Ryan. Lavara continued. "The enemy grows stronger each day. They wish to use me to control you. But I stand with you now. We will fight together, and we will restore our home." The chamber erupted in waves of hopeful murmurs. Some even cried softly. Ryan felt humbled by the moment, realizing how much she meant to them. Suddenly, the base shook violently. An alarm blared. A rebel shouted, "Enemy fleet approaching!" They tracked her signature. Lavara stepped back, shock tightening her expression. Ryan reacted instantly. "Get her to safety," he ordered. But Lavara grabbed his arm. "No, I will not hide again. Ryan met her eyes. Then stay behind me. The rebels rushed to defense stations. Crystals across the walls glowed brighter, activating shields and weapons. Outside, enemy ships descended aggressively, firing shots at the moon's surface. Ryan watched the battle unfold. Human ships were far away, but the Elendari rebels fought fiercely. Their weapons shot beams of concentrated energy. Enemy ships circled around, trying to break the rebel formation. Then Lavara stepped forward. Her glow intensified, brighter than it had ever been. She raised her hands toward the ceiling. Energy flowed from her, like sunlight breaking through darkness. The entire base lit up, shaking as power surged through its roots. Ryan shielded his eyes. The moon's surface erupted with brilliant energy barriers. Enemy ships slammed into them, unable to get close. Elendari, rebel ships pushed forward, firing with renewed strength. The balance shifted instantly. Ryan watched her in awe. She stood with her back straight, her hands glowing like stars. Her people drew power from her literally. Her presence turned fear into courage, weakness into strength. After several intense minutes, the enemy fleet began to retreat. Their weapons failed. Their engines faltered. They fled into the darkness of space, defeated. The base fell silent again. Lavara lowered her hands. Her glow dimmed gently. She wavered, on the edge of collapsing. Ryan rushed to catch her, guiding her gently into his arms. "It is done," she whispered weakly. For now. The rebels cheered. Their queen had returned, brought by a human who had risked everything. They saluted Ryan with deep respect, knowing their future existed because he chose compassion over caution. When the celebration ended, Ryan walked with Lavara to a quiet balcony overlooking the glowing moon. Stars glittered everywhere. She leaned on the railing, breathing slowly, recovering from the energy she had lost. "You returned hope to my people," she said softly. "You returned me." Ryan shook his head. "You were never lost. You were waiting for the right moment." She turned toward him, her eyes warm. "No, Ryan. I was waiting for the right person." "Ryan." He didn't answer. Instead, he stood beside her in the glowing silence, understanding that their paths, once worlds apart, were now tied together. From that day onward, the story spread across the galaxy. The human who found an unknown capsule and brought a queen back to her throne. Their journey was far from over.